We're going to be shooting a non-precision, circling-only approach, and we're going to point out a tip that you probably won't hear in most ground schools, but is crucially important in IFR flying. First, we're looking at the RNAV alpha into Macon County, North Carolina. The alpha after RNAV instead of a runway number means that there's no straight-in approach and it has circling minimums only. We can see why at the bottom left of the plate, which shows the approach course coming in on a perpendicular to the runway. Once ATC tells us to expect this approach from Dale, which we're already headed towards, we can load it into the GPS. On the Garmin 530, we'll hit proc, then select approach. Because our flight plan in the unit has our destination 1 Alpha 5 already, the available approaches come up. We'll select the only one, RNAV Alpha, then Dale. We'll just load it for now. Let's review what's just been populated in our flight plan. The pink arrow shows the leg we're currently on from Sunet to Dale, but this isn't the approach. The approach sequence begins below after where it says approach RNAV Alpha. If we push the cursor button and scroll down, we see that sequence. It starts at Dale, then goes to a hold, which we can see on the approach plate as a hold in lieu of procedure turn at that racetrack. From there, it goes on to the approach course with Akebe, Jazvu, and Kuyes, the missed approach point. The missed sequence turns us back to Dale for the hold. Now, the first part of the approach sequence is Dale, then into the hold. Will we do the course reversal? There's nothing on the plate restricting us from doing it, and we're not on a radar vector, we're navigating direct to Dale. So going by the book, we must do the course reversal unless we ask for and are cleared straight in by the controller. But here's something not often covered in ground school. The expectation these days from air traffic controllers is that you will not do the course reversal. And even if the words cleared straight in aren't used, many controllers still maintain this assumption. If you want to do the course reversal, you should clear that up prior to entering the approach. Either way, it never hurts to just say that you request a straight in or not. It's just one of those things. We'll set up our frequencies from the approach plate and brief our points. We'll be entering from Dale, then flying inbound on a 340 course. The final approach fix is at Jazvu at 5700, and we're going down to an MDA of 3620. We're going to be circling to a left downwind to runway 7, which means we'll overfly the runway to make a left into the pattern. Now, the circling MDA is about 1,600 feet above the runway elevation, which is only about 2,000, so we'll be losing altitude to get into the pattern. So we'll choose to fly straight in on this approach and ask to be cleared for it by ATC to cross Dale at or above 7,000. We can go ahead and activate by hitting proc, then scrolling to activate approach. Now we have to get rid of the hold by going into flight plan, scrolling to hold, and pressing clear to delete it. This way we'll sequence directly onto the approach path from Dale without doing the course reversal. We're using the Autopilot. Here it's the KAP 140, which you still find in plenty of GA aircraft. It's holding us at our cruise altitude of 8,000. We want to have it initiate a descent to 7,000. We'll twist the altitude select knob to 7,000. We'll then start the descent by reducing power and press Alt followed by the down key a few times to the desired vertical speed. The unit is also in nav mode, tracking the GPS course, so we'll expect when the GPS sequences us into a turn that the Autopilot will turn to follow it. We arrive at 7,000 feet and the Autopilot pitches up to level off, which we follow with an increase in power. The unit counts us down to a turn, which the Autopilot makes. Once we're past Dale, we can make our descent to the next step down 6,300. We'll set that, then reduce power, and push the key down a few times to set the descent rate. We level off at 6,300 the same as before, increasing power to match the level pitch attitude. We can bug our next step down, which is 5,700. Once we pass Akebe, we can descend to that. Jazvu is the final approach fix. We'll get ready for the descent by bugging the next altitude. The MDA is 3620, so we'll bug 3,700 to give us a buffer. At Jazvu, we'll reduce power and coordinate for the approach. We're going to give ourselves a bit steeper of a descent so that we arrive at the MDA prior to the missed approach point. If that gets us too fast on the airspeed indicator, we can reduce power to correct. We arrive at the MDA, but we'll need to give ourselves a ceiling boost on the sim to actually see the runway, which we're now overflying. We'll disconnect the Autopilot and enter a left downwind for runway 7, making all necessary calls. So this is just a brief tutorial on true non-precision approaches where there is no vertical guidance to be had, and how an autopilot like the KAP 140 can be useful flying it. For more flight insights, check out our website linked here and in the description today.